to my channel. You are watching Basketball Unfiltered. In this episode, we're going to do something a little exciting. It's a new segment that I came up with called How Good Is He Really? And on this segment, we're going to be looking at Kobe Bryant. And I'm sure you knew that already based on the title of this video. However, I'm excited. So basically, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be ranking and rating basketball players, NBA players that are retired, and I'm going to be ranking them on a scale of 1 to 10 based on 10 categories that I came up with. This is my own scale that I created, my own little basketball Richter scale, and it's completely subjective, so it's nothing that's gospel. We can agree, we can disagree, we can discuss it, we cannot discuss it. It is completely up to you. But this is my scale that I came up with, and it's going to be on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is like a Kwame Brown, 10 is a Jordan. So, based on these 10 categories, I'm going to be rating these basketball players in each category, and at the end, we're going to average things out, and whatever number falls between 1 and 10 is my ranking on how good this player really is. So stay tuned so that you can see where Kobe Bryant falls on the how good is he really scale. Stay tuned. Okay, so the 10 categories which are on the screen somewhere here is basically how I'll be ranking these players. So it's going to be on a score of 1 to 10 in each category, and at the end we're going to add up all the numbers and we're going to see what score these NBA players get. So for this episode, we're going to be doing Kobe Bryant, and I'm actually, it's weird, you know, doing Kobe because I'm not a Kobe fan. I've never been a Kobe fan, but since he's retired, I've low-key been like watching a lot of his games. Like I go back a lot of the times like on YouTube and I watch old games, or I'll like look at Hardwood Classic episodes. And so it's weird because I've never been a Kobe fan, but it's interesting because at the end of the day I still respect his game, and you know, he's one of the greats, so I can't deny the fact that he's amazing. I don't really like him, but I decided for him to be the first player to do this episode on because he is just recently retired and he's a scoring juggernaut. So why not start with him? So let's get into it with category number 1. Offense. So we all know that Kobe is probably one of the greatest scorers ever to play the game, and a lot of times when I talk about these players and I use the word ever, I'm not including Jordan into that category. So when I say ever, I kind of don't mean more than Jordan, but I just mean that he's really, 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 really good. So Kobe, we all know he's absolutely amazing when it comes to scoring, and he has had some great seasons when it comes to scoring. I'm not going to go through all 20 of his seasons, but I'm going to pick out the ones that stood out to me the most. And there were 5 seasons that I looked at and I was just like, whoa, okay, Kobe, I see you. And I'm going to go through them and we're going to talk about them really, really quickly. All right. So the first season is in the year 2000 to 2001. In that season, he played 68 games and he averaged about 40 minutes per game. He also shot about 28 points per game in that season, which to me, that's really, really good. And that was early on in his career. I think that was like 4 years after he was drafted. So that's pretty darn dope. He was averaging almost 30 points a game really early on in his career. So good job. The second season that stood out to me the most was 2002 to 2003, where he played 82 games. He was averaging 41 minutes a game, and he was averaging 30 points a game. Also, really, really good. One of his greatest seasons is probably 2005 to 2006. I remember bits and pieces of this season because I was just starting to really fall in love with the game of basketball, and at this time I was all about LeBron James, so I really wasn't paying attention to anyone else. But I remember bits and pieces of the season because this was the year that Kobe was absolutely going off. He was going out of his mind. In this season, Kobe averaged 35 points that season, where he played, I believe it was 81 games, and he was playing about 41 minutes a game. That was the same season that he had his 81-point game versus Toronto. He completely annihilated the Mavs in a game where he, I think, scored 62 points, and I think he got that all in 3 quarters. And that was the same season, I believe, that he was ranked for having the most 40-point games in NBA history. So he was going off that season. It was absolutely bananas what he was doing. It was really, really crazy. And that's probably one of his greatest seasons ever, I think. I'm pretty sure it was. The next year, in 2006 to 2007, he played in 77 games. He averaged around 40 minutes a game, and he was playing about 30 points per game. So he didn't go down too much. He just went down 5 points, and that's still pretty darn amazing. And in 2007 to 2008, he played in 82 games. He averaged around 38 minutes a game, and also averaged around 28 points per game. So these are the 5 seasons that stood out to me the most. This is not even talking about all the other 25 plus points per game seasons that he had. I think he only had about 3 seasons that were a complete bust, a lot. And I believe his last 3 seasons of his career, he was averaging about 15, 16, 17 points per game. But all the other years, for about 15 years, he's been consistently averaging 25 points plus per game. So when it comes to offense, I'm going to give Kobe a 10. I can't give him anything less than that. I mean, he's an offensive scoring monster. Moving on to category number 2, defense. When it comes to defense, I think that Kobe has had some really prime defensive years. When it comes to on-ball defense, locking down his defenders, Kobe's actually really, 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 really good at it. When I think of him going one-on-one, it's pretty scary to go one-on-one with Kobe because he's going to find a way to shut his opponent all the way down. Of course, as age creeped up, of course, as he's gotten older in the seasons, it has decreased. However, Kobe can defend the ball with the best of them. And as much as people want to say that his defense definitely has decreased, and it has, I think at any moment, Kobe can definitely pull out some really, really, really elite defensive tactics that will shut down any player. So on defense, I'll give Kobe an 8. And we're moving to category number 3. Athleticism. Okay, so Kobe is pretty athletic. I think when we're going to compare him to players like Westbrook or Prime Rose or LeBron James, Kobe may not be the fastest. He may not be the strongest or the most explosive. However, he's always in the top tiers of those categories when you're comparing him to other players in the league. Kobe has great footwork. He's extremely agile. And he's able to use his body to his advantage. He does this thing where on a possession, he'll like speed up and slow down all on the same play. And it's actually really cool when you think about it, where he can control his body in ways that a lot of other basketball players cannot. So although we can say that he may not be as fast as these players like Rose and Westbrook, it's also imperative that we point out that these players are also a lot shorter than he is. So when we compare him to players that are the same height as him or around the same height as he is, Kobe's definitely a lot stronger and a lot faster than these players are. So when it comes to athleticism, I'm going to give him an 8. On to category number 4. Leadership. So leadership is always something that I discuss when it comes to Kobe because I think it's something that could be a lot better. Now there are pros and there are cons to his leadership qualities and the way that he decides to lead the teams that he has around him. Now, what's great about his leadership style is that he's not afraid to call his players out when it comes to them doing things that are wrong or things that are foolish or when they're making mistakes or motivating them to be a better version of themselves. He's really, really good at that because he does not like to lose. And whenever he realizes that his team can be better, he definitely calls them out on it. And that's a great leadership quality. However, Kobe is a huge do-it-yourself type of a player, which means if there was a choice between having someone step up to the plate to do it or just doing it himself, he's more of a I'll do it myself. And while that's a great quality to have as a player and just as a person in general, a lot of the times it doesn't allow younger players to have that room to grow. It kind of stunts their growth just a little bit. So while a lot of people may say that in practices, Kobe kind of takes young players under his wings and and helps them and shows them the ropes and shows them different ways about how they can be a better basketball player. I think when it comes to in-game moments where Kobe can allow another player to probably step up and take that opportunity to shine, Kobe rather go his route, not pass, and make sure that he puts himself in the position to win the game. I completely understand it, but it is a notch off of his leadership belt because it kind of hinders the growth of younger players. Again, my opinion. And so for leadership, I have to give Kobe a 7. So we're moving on to category number 5. Training. So this category is basically all about what it takes to definitely keep your body up when it comes to training. How durable is Kobe as a player? When it comes to dedication to his body, when it comes to preparation for going into different games and going into the playoff season, Kobe definitely trains extremely hard. His ability to diet and keep his body in shape and to take steps to make sure that his body and his mental health is in the highest position as possible is really up there. He iced his knees 20 minutes 3 times a day. Shaq said that he practiced by himself in the gym alone with no basketball. Kobe likes to watch film of himself during halftime. And during the season, he trained sometimes 4 hours a day. And in the off season, sometimes it was even more. And this dedication to me is mind-blowing. It's great when you see that players take the time out to make sure that they better themselves, because it's not all about just going out there and bouncing a basketball. There's certain steps that you have to take to make sure that you're putting yourself in the best position to stay the healthiest, remain healthy, and make sure that you are allowing yourself to be as durable as possible for your team. And for that, I give Kobe a 9. All right, moving on to category number 6. Mental toughness. Now, Kobe has coined the phrase Mamba mentality, and that's definitely, it goes without question. In Kobe's words, to sum up what Mamba mentality is, it means to be able to constantly try to be the best version of yourself. And Kobe definitely exemplifies that on and off the court. If there's anyone that we can really compare to the mental toughness of someone like Jordan, it's most definitely Kobe Bryant. Kobe never fails to remind us how dedicated and how in love he is with the game of basketball, how many years and how much time he's dedicated to playing in this league. And when it comes to having that Mamba mentality and making sure that he every season goes out there to be better than he was last season, Kobe definitely is the epitome of having mental toughness. And for that category, I'm going to give him a 10. I think that when it comes to making sure that his mentality and his mental state is always at the highest level, Kobe definitely does that hands down. I can't hold it from him. I can't even hold him. He's amazing at it. And so for that, he gets a 10. On to category number 7, winnings. Now, I'm not a huge fan of rating and ranking basketball players based on how many rings they have. However, it is a category that I use to average out the quality of certain players. I don't use it to say how great they are individually. However, when looking at them as an overall player, it definitely does factor into it. So, winnings. Kobe is a winner. Kobe is 5-2 in the finals with 5 championship wins. In the year 2000, over the Pacers in 6 games. In 2001, over the Sixers in 5 games. Swept the Nets in 2002. In 2009, with a win over the Magic in 5 games. And a duel to the finish in 2010 with a win over the Celtics. At the end of the day, Kobe is a winner. And I know that Kobe fans love to remind me of it, but yes, he does have 5 wins, and I can't even hold him. For that, I give Kobe a 10. On to category number 9, clutchness. Now, when it comes to being clutch, that means that you are able to perform and produce in late game moments. That means moments where a game is either tied or your team is leading or down by 1 point. The true definition of a last possession moment. In all his seasons, Kobe has had quite a lot of game winners, where he's made some glorious shots. However, he has made a lot of misses. I think quite a few times Kobe has actually led the lead in the most missed shots in the NBA. So I know a lot of the fans love to use a lot of his clutch moments to completely define him as one of the most clutch players. However, Kobe has made some really late game decisions that we kind of look at and we're like, What you doing, bruh? As have many other players. So, I personally don't think that Kobe is as clutch as possible. I think that as a player, there are some players that are better than he is when it comes to being a clutch player. Now, don't get me wrong, he has had quite a few clutch moments, but I would give Kobe a 7 when it comes to being clutch. Again, that doesn't mean that he's bad. I think that Kobe has had a lot of moments where he's made a lot of game-winning shots, but there have been a lot of games where Kobe has missed these shots, and also he's not made the most intelligent last possession choice. So I give Kobe for clutchness a 7. For category number 9, we're going to do ball IQ. Kobe's ball IQ, in my opinion, is really, really high. Kobe has a great technical skill. He has really high attention to detail. He's very aware of the game and those around him and what's happening on the floor. And his overall understanding for the game is at an all-time high. It's at a very elevated level. When I think about basketball players with a high level of ball IQ, I think of like Steve Nash and Tim Duncan. And Kobe is definitely amongst the greats when it comes to that. And so for his ball IQ, I'm going to give him an 8. And our last category is consistency. Kobe has played in the league for 20 years and played with the same team for 20 seasons, and that's the Los Angeles Lakers. Over those seasons, he's become dedicated in increasing his skill and making sure that his team is in the best position to get to the playoffs, get to the finals, and win that chip. Of course, he's had help, but we're not going to talk about that. We are only talking about Kobe Bryant. So other than the seasons where he's had some really bad injuries and he's not been able to perform at his highest level, I think for consistency, Kobe's been great. He's definitely elevated his skill over the years, starting from his rookie season where he was averaging, 7 points a game, all the way to his final seasons. I don't know if we want to talk about his last 3 years too much because we definitely know that Kobe fell off, but we know that it was injuries and a lot of things that were plaguing him where he couldn't perform at that high level that we're used to seeing him play. However, he has definitely been on a steady increase over the years and he's extremely consistent. And for that category, I'm going to give him a 9. So, averaging the numbers all out, Kobe is an 8.6, which I think is actually really high. That's on a scale from 1, Kwame Brown, to 10, Jordan. Again, these numbers are my own scale that I came up with, but if there's a category that you think that Kobe should be ranked higher or lower, please let me know. We can talk about it. And I think this was pretty fun. I like this segment. I'm definitely, like I said, it's going to be players that are retired. So if you have any suggestions, anyone that you would like me to rank and rate, please let me know, and I will be glad to do it. So again, thank you for watching Basketball Unfiltered. Once again, if you're not subscribed to me, subscribe. You do not have a YouTube channel, make one, and then subscribe. And I will put the links to all the websites, all the newsletters, all the articles that I write down in the description box below. It will be a joy if you could definitely check them all out. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, comment, like, share, all of that good stuff. So again, thank you for watching Basketball Unfiltered. See you next week. Bye!